Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Now, Blue Sky Nurseries is a wholesale nursery that only sells wholesale. You will find that it is a very widely distributed grower. They are so good, and they have such a great selection of plant material. So what I wanted to do was tell you to take a look, and you won't know if they really come from Blue Sky, etc., but the tags may say so, whatever garden center you're in. The other thing is that I may throw in a few that are not brand new that really pique my interest. And you know, when you've been at this long, it's got to be something to really pique my interest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to you, there is a way to pick your daylilies. Now, daylilies are edible, the flowers. You do have to make sure you wash them to remove the pollen, etc. And you may just, break them up and throw them into a salad, but many people don't. There are other ways of doing the pods, the flower pods, and many other things. If you look up on the web, there's got to be recipes all over the place. Now, the one that tweaked my fancy that is not new, okay, let's start there. It's called Elizabeth Salter. Now, Elizabeth Salter daylily is a rebloomer, and this is what you're looking for. You don't want a perennial that blooms once and then sits there. It is a rebloomer. It's pink. It's got a green throat. It has 55 centimeter flower scapes. Now, the flower scape is the stem from which the flowers all arise. So it's telling you how tall it will be when it's in bloom. The blooms are 14 centimeters as well. So that's going to give you some good-sized blooms. They bloom mid and to late summer. They love full sun to partial shade. I like this one mainly because it is a rebloomer. It is a semi-evergreen, which means that some of the foliage actually comes through the winter as a basal clump. And this means that you'll always know in the spring where you've got the daylilies like this. Makes it easier if you're doing garden cleanup if you can see the leaves on the ground that are remaining. And it could only be a few, but if we have a mild winter or a good snow covers, then you may see an awful lot of foliage left over. And it is good foliage, so take it off. Just make sure you keep it going. Now, a new one is now this one is Fashion Gossip. It is a rebloomer. It's an apricot blend, green throat. It's got 80 centimeter flower stalks and 15 centimeter blooms. It's a double, and it extends the bloom time for this one because it blooms in late summer in full sun to partial shade. It does go dormant, and it does like some nice long nights. It's nocturnal, but it is a rebloomer. So there's one that you can take a look at and know that not everybody else is going to have one, and a little different too. We need these challenges in our lives, in our gardens as well. Now, there is also one called Luxury Madness. It's a rebloomer. It is diploid, which means it won't cross with the triploids. So we're talking about the number of chromosomes. And what it is it's a rebloomer. It's a light yellow. It's got a green throat. The flower scapes, are 65 centimeters tall. The blooms are 17 centimeters across. They're double, fragrant, yes. Blooms in mid to late summer. So when you're really out there the most, you're going to get a show out of these, but you're also going to get fragrance as well. They like the full sun. They do tolerate being planted in partial shade. They can go dormant, but they are re-bloomers. And these are things that I look for, because if it looks good, blooms when I'm out there, and as a result, you get to go and enjoy when you're out there the most. That's the important part. The next one is a new one. It's called Nell Dean, Nell Dean, Dean. Now, it's a rebloomer. It's an apricot, burgundy, yellow-green throat. There's some color combinations. It's 70 centimeter flowerscapes, 15 centimeter blooms. It's double, so it's got extra petals. The extended bloom time blooms in mid to late summer. You're going to extend your season. Full sun, partial shades, dormant. It's a diploid, and it is a rebloomer, and that's important as well. Then there is the daylily, hemerocallis, orange smoothie. Now, almost makes me hungry. This one is being presented by Proven Winters and grown by Blue Sky Nurseries. So you're going to be able to see this in the garden centers. And that's important because they do distribute all over Ontario as well. So, daylily, orange, mango, 4-inch wide flowers with a rose band and a pink midrib and a green throat. So some nice color combinations and color. Also, the edges of the leaves have a slight ripple to them just to add a little interest. They bloom in early summer to early fall. It's a rebloomer, 2 feet tall and a foot wide. It grows in full sun or partial shade, and it is a smaller one. I like that. See, you got to be able to pick them to fit the location for size as well as for bloom time, and of course, always a rebloomer. The best thing you can always do in a garden is make sure you get the best color, or best, what do they say, best bang for your buck, and that's what you get from a rebloomer. There is Siloam Huskins Anniversary. Now, there are a lot of Siloam daylilies out there, so don't get confused. It's a very large group, and they've been around a long time. This particular one, Huskins Anniversary, is a light apricot with a green throat, 45 centimeter flowerscapes, 14 centimeter blooms, double, fragrant, extended bloom time. It blooms from mid to late summer, and it enjoys full sun to partial shade. It does have a dormancy, so you want to make sure that you have something in that area as well. Now, the next one is Storm Shelter, and this is the one for people who like A, fragrance, B, repeat blooms, but also the very dark colored ones. More of the mauve and eggplant color in these ones. So you've got to put these ones into a bright area. Sometimes use them as a contrast to the more common yellow, white, pinks, etc. The fragrant 5-inch wide mauve blooms with a deep eggplant purple eye that extends to nearly the edge of the petals. The petals are ruffled at the edges, and there is a wide picotee margin. Now, picotee means that dark purple is also on that edge. So it's lighter between the center and the edge. So it's still going to give you that mauve and eggplant. The eye is the same color as the dark purple, and it does have a little bit of a yellow throat, which is normal, right, for most of them. 24-inch tall, 18 to 24 inches across, partial sun, partial shade, full sun. I sometimes put this one into slight shade, not a lot, but only because I think the purple stands out better in a little lower light, but that's why I also think you need a contrast with it. I don't like it in deeper shade because it doesn't stand out in that color. In other words, mauve and purples are the first colors in a garden to disappear at dusk. So you want the into a brighter area. And this is Storm Shelter, and it is a repeat bloomer. I like that one. That's one I would add to my garden. I'll tell you now, because of the repeat, because of the fragrance, because of the pickety edge, because of the ruffles, and the color is that much more unusual. But again, I would have to put it next to something much lighter. Probably another one of the daylilies. You can try an old one if you wanted the one as a contrast. It's a near white with a green throat, 62 centimeter scapes, 14-inch blooms. It's fragrant. It reblooms, and it blooms mid to late summer. Full sun, partial shade. It's a tetraploid, and it does have a dormancy, but it is a rebloomer. So those are the most popular. Hostas and daylilies are the most popular perennials in North America, across the board, and they sort of go back and forth depending on the year and the varieties, etc. You just have to go and pick which one works best in your location. Now, let's do some hostas, since it's obviously daylilies and hostas are the most popular. The first one is Beach Boy. Now, this hosta has thick yellow-green leaves with a blue margin. This means that it's a little more resistant to snails and slugs. It has clusters, yes, I said clusters, of large white flowers in the midsummer. It is 16 to 20 inches high and 20 to 24 inches wide. It is a sport of Dreamweaver, and it does have good slug resistance. So it's very, very important. I think you'll like that one as well. Blue Elf is another new one, and it's a blue, powdery blue leaves, larger leaves compared to other miniatures. The lavender flowers bloom in midsummer. It's only half a foot tall and 1 foot wide. It likes full to part shade. And I think if you sort of play that one, not into full sun, but and not into part shade, but in between, you'll get your best blue color. More on this and other new plants for 2019 in coming weeks. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.